Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going deep on Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things about this one.
Yeah, it's been making the rounds, and we're actually going to be using a BookTube summary
Okay.
as like our guide for this deep dive.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, you might think, oh, it's just another finance book,
Right.
but it's not about like getting rich quick or anything like that.
Yeah. No.
It's more about understanding how our brains actually work
Right.
when it comes to money.
Like the mental game.
Exactly.
The money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that we all need, like regardless of what our financial goals are.
Yeah, for sure.
Like whether you're, just starting out or you're, seasoned investor, like this stuff is really important.
Yeah, it's fascinating how much of our financial decision making is actually driven by psychology.
Right.
More than like pure logic.
Yeah.
You would think it would be the other way around, but
I know. And like one of the best examples of that in the book is the story of Harry Markowitz. Oh, yeah.
have you heard of him?
I have. Yeah, he's like the pioneer of modern portfolio theory.
Wait, yeah.
Like super complex mathematical models to try to optimize investment.
Like this guy is like, he's a genius, right?
Right. A total brainiac.
But when it came to his own money, like how he actually invested,
Oh, what did he do?
it was so simple.
Really?
Like he went with a 50-50 split
50-50.
between stocks and bonds.
So simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think he would have some crazy
Right.
formula or
Yeah,
something.
like the portfolio guru,
Yeah.
some secret sauce.
But no, it was just like the most basic
Yeah.
kind of allocation.
Why is that?
Well, he admitted, like, even Markowitz himself said.
Oh, so he explained it.
Yeah, he was like, you know what?
Okay.
It was my own fear of loss, and then also just the urge
Yeah.
to chase gains.
Like FOMO.
Right? Yeah, totally FOMO.
Yeah.
And that's what drove his decision.
Wow. I mean, that's so.
So, like, even the guy who like came up with all these complex
Yeah,
models,
that's interesting.
he's still human.
She's still human. Yeah. Yeah.
And emotions still play a role.
It highlights that even for like these brilliant minds,
Right.
emotions can still totally take over when it comes to money.
Which honestly, like, that's a little bit reassuring to me because
Right.
I know I'm not like a Nobel Prize winning economist or anything.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like sometimes I get conflicted about my investments too.
Yeah, like logically it makes sense, but it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Like logically, it seems like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. But then like emotionally, I'm like,
It's like a gut feeling.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, what Markowitz's story shows is that it's okay to like acknowledge that.
Yeah.
We're not robots.
Right. It's not about becoming
Yeah.
emotionless, robots or something.
Oh.
It's about understanding, okay, what are my own
Yeah.
tendencies? Like, what am I prone to doing?
Right.
And then finding a strategy that actually fits that.
Yeah, that we can stick with.
You can stick with long term.
Yeah.
Something that aligns with your risk tolerance. Mm-hmm. And that just feels right.
Even when things are like,
Yeah.
crazy in the market.
When the market is volatile
Yeah.
and it's going up and down, and you're like,
Right.
what do I do?
So it's almost like it's more about finding peace of mind than it is about like perfectly predicting the market or
Having all the answers or
Yeah.
being super logical, like
Right.
Spock or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So like,
The book actually gives this example of an investor who uses like index funds for the bulk of their portfolio.
okay, yeah, that's like,
Which is like a very sensible approach.
Right, yeah.
But they also keep a small portion
Okay.
just for investing in individual stocks.
interesting.
Not necessarily because they think they're going to beat the market or anything, but just because they enjoy it.
Oh, wow.
They like the research,
Yeah.
the engagement with those companies.
So it's almost like it's not just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about,
It's about the experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm getting this right, it's kind of like it's a balance
Yeah.
between the logical, data-driven stuff,
Sure.
but also recognizing that our emotions like play a huge role.
They're going to play a role no matter what.
Right.
And that actually leads perfectly into the next point, which is like staying power.
Okay.
More important than like chasing quick wins.
Ooh.
I like that. Think of it like growing an oak tree.
Okay.
It takes time and patience.
Yeah.
But the result is like this magnificent,
Yeah.
enduring thing.
I like that. Yeah. So it's like we're not trying to like, time the market.
Yeah, it's not about like the
Yeah.
quick, in and out.
We're not day trading here.
No. It's like, it's the long game.
Yeah.
Slow and steady.
Yeah. And I think that the book had this quote that I really liked.
Oh, what was it?
It said, time in the market beats timing the market.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and the data actually shows that that's true.
Makes sense.
Like the longer you stay invested, the higher your probability of profit.
That makes sense, but I think a lot of people struggle with that because
Yeah.
we're so impatient, right?
Totally. I mean,
I want everything now.
yeah, like I want to see the results like right away.
Right now. Yeah.
But like you said, it's like growing an oak tree.
Yeah, you can't just like
Yeah.
dig it up every few months to see how big the roots are.
Right. Yeah, you got to just like let it grow.
Yeah, you're just going to mess it up.
Exactly.
You gotta let it do its thing.
So that does require like a certain level of emotional resilience though.
Yeah, especially when the market's like doing this. You know, it's like,
Yeah. Because it's so easy to just like panic and sell everything.
Yeah, or like buy everything when it's going up.
Right when everybody else is buying.
And you're like, oh, no, I'm missing out. Gotta get in.
Yeah, I got to get in.
Gotta get in now.
But that's usually the worst time
Usually. Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
So having a strategy
Yeah.
that you actually believe in,
Yeah.
like aligns with your long-term vision,
Something you can stick with. Yeah.
is so important because it gives you that like
Anchor. Like an emotional anchor.
like emotional anchor.
You can ride out the storm.
Okay, so we're talking about long-term thinking.
Yeah.
We're talking about like weathering storms.
Mm-hmm.
I think this kind of naturally leads to the idea of a margin of safety,
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
which is something that Halsey talks about in the book.
That's a great concept, and I think it applies to so many different areas of life.
Right.
Like not just personal finance.
Yeah.
It's like driving defensively.
Okay.
You don't tailgate
Right.
because you need space to react.
Yeah.
If the person in front of you slams on their brakes.
Right. So in financial terms, a margin of safety would be things like having an emergency fund.
Yeah.
Living below our means.
Yeah.
Not taking on more risk than we can actually handle.
Exactly. Like building in that buffer.
Right.
So that if something unexpected happens,
Yeah.
you're not totally screwed.
Right.
It's not about being timid or anything.
Right.
It's not about being risk averse.
It's about being smart.
Yeah, it's about being strategic
Yeah.
and thinking long term.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
So thinking long-term, being strategic, having that margin of safety, that allows us to kind of stay in the game longer,
Stay in the game longer. Yeah, exactly.
even if we hit some bumps along the way.
Even if you know, have some setbacks.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
got to be able to bounce back.
Yeah. And the book shares this story
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
about Michael Moritz
I love that one.
from Sequoia Capital. Mm-hmm. And their investment firm has like thrived for decades.
Yeah, they've been around forever.
Yeah. And Moritz attributes their success
To what?
to a focus on longevity.
Interesting.
So it's not about chasing every, like, you know,
Shiny object.
yeah, every shiny object or the latest trend.
The hype, it's about,
Staying power.
yeah.
Avoiding those bets that could like wipe you out completely.
So it's kind of like you don't have to win every hand
Exactly.
to win the game.
Yeah, just got to stay in the game.
Right. Consistency and like smart risk management can be so much more impactful
Yeah.
than just trying to like,
Hit that home run.
hit a home run every single time.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's impossible.
Yeah, you're going to strike out eventually.
Right.
So thinking about this margin of safety, I'm kind of curious, like,
Yeah.
do you feel like you have enough room to maneuver
Ooh.
if like life throws you a curveball?
That is a good question.
Yeah, and I think it's something worth thinking about because
Yeah.
as we've been talking about, like a lot of our financial decisions are influenced by things that we
Yeah.
might not even be aware of.
Right. Like there's stuff going on under the surface.
Yeah, that we don't even realize.
Yeah, like subconscious stuff almost.
Yeah, and that actually brings us to like a really important point
Right.
that often gets overlooked, I think, which is that our past experiences,
Right.
especially our early financial experiences,
Like how we grew up.
yeah,
Yeah.
can shape our money mindset
Totally.
in ways that we don't even realize.
It's like we have this blueprint almost that we carry with us.
Like those early experiences kind of create this financial blueprint in our minds.
Yeah. And it's not just about our own personal experiences. It's also the broader economic environment
Okay.
that we grew up in.
So like if somebody, you know, came of age during a recession,
Right.
they might be more cautious with their money,
Yeah.
even if like they're doing well now.
Like even if objectively they're
Right.
fine,
Yeah.
they might still have that
Yeah.
sense of scarcity.
Or like a need for security.
They're like, oh, gotta hold on to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Whereas somebody who witnessed their parents like making bold investments,
Oh, interested.
that paid off.
Okay, yeah.
They might be more comfortable taking risks.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It's fascinating, right? How
Yeah.
those early influences can just like
Shape our whole attitude towards money.
for years to come. Yeah.
And there's actually research on this
Really?
from the National Bureau of Economic Research.
Okay. So like legitimate research.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they found that economic conditions during early adulthood
Okay.
had a big impact on people's investment choices later in life.
Later in life.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like, it's not just like, anecdotal.
Yeah.
It's like actual data.
right. Yeah. Data backs it up.
Yeah. And the book gives the example of Bill Gross,
Oh, yeah.
who's like a renowned bond investor.
Bond King.
Yeah. The bond king.
He acknowledged that his whole career path was probably influenced by the economic era he grew up in.
Wow.
Like if he'd been born in a different time
Okay.
with different interest rates,
Yeah.
he might never have gone into bonds at all.
That's wild.
Right.
So it's like, it's not just us, with our own personal experiences,
Yeah.
like the whole context of the world
It all plays a role.
that we're in.
Yeah.
That shapes our financial perspectives.
And I think it underscores the importance of like understanding and acknowledging these influences.
Yeah.
Both in ourselves.
Okay.
But also like when we're interacting with others
Oh, that's a good point.
who might have a totally different
Yeah.
outlook on money.
Okay, so knowing that our past experiences can like have such a profound impact
Yeah.
on our financial decision making.
Right.
Like, what can we do about it?
Oh, good question.
Can we break free from those ingrained patterns? Or are we just like destined to repeat, the financial habits of our past?
That's a great question.
I don't know.
And it leads to one of the most valuable takeaways
Okay.
from the book, which
Yeah.
is awareness is key.
Awareness.
The first step is to recognize
Okay.
like what are those biases, those like
Okay.
deeply held beliefs about money that might be influencing our choices.
Without us even realizing it.
Yeah, subconsciously almost.
So it's about like taking a step back and really examining our beliefs
Get in the memo.
with
Yeah.
like a critical eye.
Yeah, like be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like what do I really believe
Yeah.
about money?
And like, where do those beliefs come from?
Where did they come from?
Yeah.
Are they serving me now?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or are they holding me back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
And if you discover that some of those beliefs are like no longer helpful,
Yeah.
that's where the real work begins.
Okay, so then what do we do?
It's the work of like challenging those limiting beliefs
Okay.
and replacing them
Okay.
with more empowering ones.
I can see how that would be like
Yeah.
a challenge.
Not easy.
Right. But also like incredibly liberating.
Liberating. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're breaking free
Right.
from those old chains.
Yeah. It's like recognizing that we're not just like at the mercy of our past experiences.
Yeah, we have the power
Yeah.
to learn from them,
Yeah.
to grow from them,
Yeah.
and to make conscious choices
Right.
that align with our values and our goals.
So instead of being driven by like fear or scarcity, we can start making financial decisions from a place of like,
Confidence
yeah,
and clarity.
confidence and clarity. I like that.
It's about taking control of our money mindset
Yeah.
so that money can work for us,
Yeah.
not against us.
I love that idea. Taking control of our money mindset.
Yeah.
So we've explored how our emotions can influence our decisions, the power of staying the course,
Yeah.
building a margin of safety, the
Yeah.
impact of our past experiences.
All this good stuff.
Yeah.
All these psychological factors.
Is there anything else from the book that like really stood out to you? What I found really thought-provoking was the emphasis on
Yeah.
aligning our financial choices with our values
Okay.
and our vision for the future.
Yeah, like it's not just about,
It's not about accumulating wealth
Yeah.
just for the sake of it.
right, like having the biggest pile of money.
Yeah, like Scrooge McDuck diving into a pile of gold coins.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It's about using money as a tool to create the life we want,
Yeah.
to support the things that we care about, and to achieve our goals.
Right. So it's like money is a means to an end
Exactly.
at the end itself.
And that requires more than just like financial knowledge.
Okay.
It requires self-awareness,
Yeah.
introspection, a willingness to really examine
Yeah.
our beliefs and our motivations.
Okay. So knowing what we now know about the psychology of money,
Right.
how can we apply these insights
Oh, good question.
to our own lives?
Yeah.
Like, where do we go from here? It's really interesting stuff to think about.
Yeah, for sure. Like it feels like we've been on this journey exploring like the inner workings of our minds.
Yeah.
when it comes to money.
And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we're not just passive passengers.
Right.
Like, we have the ability to actually become more conscious drivers of our financial destiny.
So it's not about trying to like eliminate our emotions.
Right.
Altogether.
Emotions are always going to be there.
Yeah.
It's about understanding them, acknowledging their influence, and then making choices that are aligned with our values and our long-term goals.
So like, what's a practical step
Oh, yeah, good question.
that we can take to actually like start doing this?
I think one of the most practical things is to start paying attention to our financial self-talk.
Our financial self-talk.
Yeah, like, what are the stories we're telling ourselves about money?
Oh, interesting.
Like, are we constantly worrying about not having enough? Or are we focusing on abundance and opportunity?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like, what's the kind of the tone?
Yeah. The narrative.
Yeah.
In our heads.
Okay, and then asking ourselves like,
Yeah.
are those stories based on reality?
Yeah. Is this actually true?
Yeah.
Or is this like some old story from my childhood or some limiting belief?
Ooh. I like that limiting belief.
Yeah.
So like, once we identify those like potentially unhelpful narratives,
They can start to challenge them.
Yeah.
And rewrite them.
it's almost like we gotta like rewrite the script.
Yeah, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like replacing those old tapes
Oh yeah.
with like new affirmations.
Yeah, it's like we're changing the soundtrack that's playing in our head.
Like, good analogy.
Yeah. And like, speaking of like our environment and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing that we can do is like surround ourselves with positive financial influences.
Yeah.
Like, maybe seek out mentors.
Kind people who are where you want to be.
Right. Or communities that like support our financial growth.
Yeah, like mastermind groups or, Facebook groups or whatever.
Yeah, like, and also like, what about the media we consume?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like, maybe limit our exposure to those like get rich quick.
All the scams.
Yeah, all the scams, all the like overnight success stories.
Yeah, because that can really distort our perception
Right.
of reality.
Yeah, it's like we got to curate our financial environment.
Yeah, create an environment that supports you.
Okay, so it's not about trying to like overhaul our entire financial lives.
No. It's not about like doing everything at once. It's about small changes.
Yeah.
Consistent action.
Yeah, and like those small changes can add up.
Oh yeah, the ripple effect.
Yeah.
Over time.
Maybe it's automating our savings. Maybe it's like reading a book like this.
Educating yourself.
Yeah, about investing.
Or just becoming more mindful of our spending habits.
Yeah, little things can make a big difference.
Well, I think this has been like a really insightful deep dive.
Yeah, this was a good one.
I feel like I've learned a lot.
Me too.
And like, I have this whole new perspective on money now.
Yeah, it's not just about numbers.
Yeah.
And spreadsheets.
It's about understanding ourselves.
Yeah.
Our motivations.
And all these forces that are shaping our decisions.
Right. And realizing that we have more control.
We have more control than we think over those decisions than we think we do.
This is just the beginning of the journey, right? Like, the more we explore this stuff, the more we learn about like the psychology of money,
the better equipped we'll be to make choices that actually lead to real financial well-being.
So keep questioning, keep learning,
keep exploring,
and keep diving deeper
into this fascinating world of money and mindset.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.